Little Johnny was at school one day when he noticed that there was a large crowd of kids gathered around Little Billy. Little Johnny walks up to Little Billy and says, "Hey, what's all the excitement about?" Little Billy says, "Just showing everyone my new watch." Little Johnny goes, "Wow, that's a cool watch. Where did you get it?" Little Billy says, "Well, I walked in on my mom and dad having sex over the weekend, and my dad was so mad he gave me a spanking and sent me to my room. The next day he felt guilty about what he had done and went and bought me this cool watch." This gives Little Johnny a good idea. Later that night, when Little Johnny was sent to bed, he stayed up listening and waiting for his mom and dad to go to bed. Once he starts hearing noises coming from their room, he runs down the hall, throws their bedroom door open, and yells, "I want a watch!" His dad looks over to Johnny and says, "Well, okay, but sit in the corner and be quiet." Little Johnny's kindergarten class was on a field trip to their local police station, where they saw pictures tacked to a bulletin board of the 10 most wanted criminals. One of the youngsters pointed to a picture and asked if it really was the photo of a wanted person. "Yes," said the policeman. "The detectives want very badly to capture him." Little Johnny asked, "Why didn't you keep him when you took his picture?" One day, the teacher told her class to think of something exciting that happened recently. Little Susie told about her trip to Florida. Clyde said his dad got drunk all the time. Little Johnny put a dot on the board, and the teacher asked him to explain what was exciting about a period. He said, "Hell if I know, but my sister said she missed hers, and my mom screamed, my dad had a heart attack, and the boy next door killed himself." Little Johnny walks in on his parents having sex and asks, "What are you doing?" His father says, "We're playing cards, and your mother is my wild card." A week later, Little Johnny walks in on his father masturbating, and he asks, "What are you doing, Dad?" His father says, "I'm playing cards, Johnny." "Where's your wild card?" Johnny asks. His father replies, "Son, you don't need one when you've got a good hand." A Sunday school teacher is concerned that his students might be a little confused about Jesus, so he asks his class, "Where is Jesus today?" Stephen raises his hand and says, "He's in heaven." Mary answers, "He's in my heart." Little Johnny waves his hand furiously and blurts out, "He's in our bathroom!" The surprised teacher asks Little Johnny how he knows this. "Well," Little Johnny says, "every morning my father gets up, bangs on the bathroom door, and yells, 'Jesus Christ, are you still in there?'" Little Johnny's father asks him if he knows about the birds and the bees. "I don't want to know," Little Johnny says, bursting into tears. Confused, his father asks, "What's wrong?" "Oh, Dad," Little Johnny sobs. "First, there was no Santa Claus, then no Easter Bunny, and finally, no Tooth Fairy. If you're about to tell me that grown-ups don't really have sex, I've got nothing left to believe in." Little Johnny and his two friends are sitting on the front porch one day. The first one says, "My daddy is so cool he can eat 4 burgers at one meal." The second one says, "That's nothing. My daddy can eat 6. Little Johnny starts laughing and says, "My daddy can eat light bulbs." The other two boys tell Johnny that he is out of his mind. They ask him why he thinks his daddy can eat light bulbs. Little Johnny replies, "Last night I was passing my parents' room and my daddy said, 'Honey, turn out that light. I want to eat that thing.'" Little Johnny asks his mother how old she is. She replies, "Gentlemen, don't ask ladies that question." Johnny then asks his mother how much she weighs. Again, the mother's reply is, "Gentlemen, don't ask ladies that question." Johnny then asks, "Why did Daddy leave you?" To this, the mother says, "You shouldn't ask that," and then sends him to his room. On the way to his room, he trips over his mother's purse. When he picks it up, her driver's license falls out. He looks it over and goes back to his mother saying, "I know all about you now. You are 36 years old, weigh 127 pounds, and Daddy left you because you got an F in sex." One day, Little Johnny's grandmother sent him to the water hole to get some water for cooking dinner. As he was dipping the bucket in, he saw 2 big eyes looking back at him. He dropped the bucket and ran back to Grandma's house as fast as he could. "Where's my bucket and my water?" she asked. "I can't get any water from that water hole. There's a mean old alligator down there." "Now, don't you mind that old alligator, Johnny. He's been there for years and he's hurt no one. He's probably as scared of you as you are of him." "Well, Grandma," replied Johnny, "if he's as scared of me as I am of him, then that water ain't fit to drink." Little Johnny was sitting in class one day. All of a sudden, he needed to go to the bathroom. He yelled out, "Miss Jones, I need to take a piss." The teacher replied, "Now, Johnny, that is not the proper word to use in the situation. The correct word you want is urinate. Please use the word urinate in a sentence correctly, and I will allow you to go." Little Johnny thinks for a bit, then says, "You're an 8, but if you had bigger tits, you'd be a 10. Little Johnny is constantly late for school, and what's worse is that he always has a big lie explaining why. The teacher tells the principal that she has had it with his exaggerations. The principal tells her to send Johnny to him the next time he shows up late. He will tell Johnny a lie so big that he will never tell another one, ever. The next day, Johnny shows up 2 hours late. Johnny says, "I was 2 hours early today, so I had time to fish in the pond on my way to school. I caught a 17-pound trout and had to take it home. If I didn't clean it and freeze it, my mom would have been angry. That's why I'm so late." The teacher promptly takes him to the principal's office and explains the story to the principal. The principal tells Johnny about his own trip to school that day, and he says, "I was walking to school through the park on the trail today when I heard something behind me. I turned around and was shocked to see a giant grizzly bear behind me. He was 24 feet tall and had 6-inch fangs. He was going to eat me, Johnny. Just then, a little dog ran out from the bushes, jumped up, and attacked the bear. The little dog killed the bear and then ate the whole bear right there in front of me. What do you think of that, Johnny?" Johnny excitedly replies, "Oh yeah, that's my dog Sparky. That's his 3rd bear this week." On the last day of kindergarten, all the children brought presents for their teacher. The florist's son handed the teacher a gift. She shook it, held it up, and said, "I bet I know what it is. It's some flowers." "That's right!" shouted the little boy. Then the candy store owner's daughter handed the teacher a gift. She held it up, shook it, and said, "I bet I know what it is. It's a box of candy." "That's right!" shouted the little girl. The next gift was from the liquor store owner's son, little Johnny. The teacher held it up and saw that it was leaking. She touched a drop with her finger and tasted it. "Is it wine?" she asked. "No," little Johnny answered. The teacher touched another drop to her tongue. "Is it champagne?" she asked. "No," he answered. Finally, the teacher said, "I give up. What is it?" Little Johnny replied, "A puppy." One night, little Johnny was really scared of sleeping by himself at camp, so he sprinted out of his tent, ran to his teacher's tent, and asked, "Miss, can I please sleep with you tonight?" His teacher replies, "No." Johnny moans and says, "But my mummy lets me." "Okay then, just for tonight," the teacher replies. Johnny jumps into bed with her and asks, "Miss, can I please play with your belly button with my finger?" She again says, "No." "But my mummy lets me," says Johnny again. "Well, I suppose it's okay," replies the teacher. Things are silent for a few minutes until the teacher leaps up screaming, "That's not my belly button." Little Johnny replies, "It ain't my finger either." The visiting Bible school supervisor asks little Johnny during Bible class, "Who broke down the walls of Jericho?" Little Johnny replies, "I don't know, but it wasn't me." The supervisor, taken aback by Johnny's lack of basic Bible knowledge, goes to the school principal and relates the whole incident. The principal replies, "I know little Johnny as well as his whole family very well and can vouch for them. If little Johnny said that he did not do it, then I, as principal, is satisfied that it is the truth." Even more appalled, the inspector goes to the regional head of education and relates the whole story. After listening, he replies, "I can't see why you're making such a big issue out of this. Just get 3 quotes and fix the damned wall."